A video from my wife popped up on my phone. It showed her and her childhood best friend tied up in a haunted house, the kidnapper demanding a $5 million ransom. In the shaky footage, Sophia was sobbing hysterically. "Marcus, please. You have to save us. I'm so scared." Brandon, next to her, called out weakly, "Marcus, man, please. You're the only one who can help us." I watched the two of them clutching each other for dear life and thought about the hair I'd found on our bed yesterday. It wasn't mine. It was Brandon's. I closed my phone and went back to my coffee. Last night, I'd come home early to surprise Sophia. The surprise turned out to be on me. When I used my key to open the front door, the TV was still on in the living room, playing some binge-worthy Netflix show she was obsessed with. On the coffee table were 2 wine glasses and a half-eaten slice of cheesecake. 2 glasses. Sophia had told me she was taking a day off to relax at home alone. I walked toward the bedroom on silent feet. The door was ajar, and I could hear shuffling sounds from inside. My heart pounded, and my palms began to sweat. The moment I pushed the door open, I saw the mess of tangled sheets on the bed. Sophia was just stepping out of the master bathroom, her hair damp and wrapped in a towel. "Marcus, what are you doing home?" Her voice trembled. "My meeting got cancelled. Thought I'd come home and spend the afternoon with you." I forced a calm I didn't feel. "Were you taking a shower?" "Yeah, just finished," she said, toweling her hair and avoiding my eyes. I walked over to the bed. The sheets had clearly been hastily straightened, but you could still see the indentation from vigorous activity. On the pillow was a single strand of hair, not long and blonde like Sophia's. It was short and dark, a man's. I picked it up. Sophia's face went pale. "What's this?" I asked. "It's probably. I had the cleaning service come today. Maybe one of them brought a male assistant or something," she stammered. Just then, we heard the front door open. "Sophia, I think I left my wall." Brandon's voice died in his throat. He was standing in the bedroom doorway, his clothes hastily thrown on, the second button of his shirt still in the third hole. The three of us just stood there, frozen. "Marcus." "Hey, man. I just came back for my wallet," Brandon stammered, his eyes wide with panic. I looked from him to her, a tidal wave of rage and disappointment crashing over me. 8 years. Sophia and I had been married for 8 years. For 8 years, I had given her everything. I had put her on a pedestal. The designer bags she wanted, I bought. The exotic trips she wanted to take, I booked. When she got sick, I'd stay up all night by her side. And Brandon, her childhood best friend, was always just there. Their special bond. I used to be naive enough to believe that since she chose me, it meant I was more important to her than him. Now I see what I was, a fool. A clueless idiot who was being played the whole time. "Well, you two catch up. I have some work to do in my office," I said, turning away. My voice was so steady it scared even me. Behind me, I heard Sophia start to cry, and Brandon rushed to comfort her. I sat in my home office, my mind a chaotic blur. I replayed all the little things from the past few months that suddenly made sense. Her frequent girls' nights out, coming home later and later, her growing coldness toward me. She'd even flinch if I tried to touch her. So that was it. She'd been cheating on me all along. My 8 years of devotion were nothing more than a joke to her. This morning, my phone buzzed. It was a video message from an unknown number. In it, Sophia and Brandon were tied to chairs in a dilapidated room that looked like something out of a low-budget horror movie. "Marcus, please, you have to save us. I'm so scared." Sophia's tears streamed down her face. "Marcus, man, please. We're going to die." Brandon pleaded, his face a mask of terror. Then a distorted voice came on. "You want them alive? You get $5 million in cash. I'll send the drop-off location tonight at 8, and don't even think about calling the cops, or they're dead." I ended the video, feeling nothing. After Brandon had left last night, Sophia had wept and sworn that they were just friends, that she'd asked him over to tell him to stop coming around so much. On the surface, I pretended to believe her. I even held her and told her it was okay. But inside, something had already died. And now she and Brandon had been kidnapped together. How convenient. I dialed the unknown number. 5 million is a lot of money. I need time. You've got until tonight, the voice growled. And no cops. I won't call the cops, but I need proof of life. I need to know they're safe. I'll send you a video every 2 hours. After hanging up, I sat in my office thinking. Sophia thinks I'm still in the dark. She thinks that to save her, I'll obediently hand over $5 million. It's not an impossible sum for me, but it's not pocket change either. It's enough for the two of them to disappear and live comfortably for years. I remembered when I first met Sophia. I was just getting my company off the ground. She was still in college. We met at a friend's party, and she told me she was attracted to my drive, my ambition. We dated for 3 years, married for 8. 11 years total. I thought we'd grow old together. I thought she loved me. When did it all change? Was it because I was so focused on work that I neglected her? Or did Brandon's reappearance in our lives stir up old feelings? No, none of that mattered anymore. What mattered was that she had betrayed me, and now she was trying to use this cheap, low-life scheme to bleed me dry. I opened my laptop. It was time to find out who really owned that burner phone. My assistant, Aaron, is a wizard with computers. Mr. Blackwood, you want me to run this number? He asked, looking at the string of digits I'd sent him. I want everything you can find on it. Registered owner, call logs, location data, everything. That might require digging through some non-public channels, sir. Whatever it takes, Aaron. Money's no object. 2 hours later, Aaron was back with a full report. Mr. Blackwood, the number was registered to a fake ID, but I pulled the data on the actual user. His name is Victor Kane, 32 years old. He has a record, did 2 years for fraud. But here's the thing, Kevin, he paused. He has a connection to Brandon. What kind of connection? They met 2 weeks ago at a coffee shop Brandon frequents. And 3 days ago, Kane's bank account received a $50,000 transfer. The sender was Brandon. I leaned back in my leather chair and almost laughed. A $50,000 down payment. So it was all an act, a meticulously planned fraud. Sophia and Brandon had hired an ex-con to stage a fake kidnapping. Their goal was simple, scam me out of $5 million and ride off into the sunset together. Keep digging, I said. I want to know their exact location now. On it, Mr. Blackwood. An hour later, Aaron returned. Sir, I got them. They're in an abandoned amusement park on the outskirts of the city, in the old haunted house attraction. It's been shut down for years. Excellent. Now I need you to contact some people for me. What kind of people? The kind that get things done. Aaron understood immediately. He just nodded and left my office. I sat there feeling a strange sense of calm. There was no rage, not anymore. There was only relief. Yes, relief. With this one act, Sophia had shown me that our 11 years together meant absolutely nothing to her. Fine. If that's how she wanted to play it, then I had no reason to go easy on her. She wants $5 million. I'll give it to her, just not in the way she expects. At 3 o'clock, the second video arrived. Sophia and Brandon looked more disheveled this time, really leaning into their roles. Marcus, you have to save us. I'm so terrified. Sophia's performance was A+. Please, man, we're going to die in here, Brandon added, his voice cracking with fake desperation. Great acting. If I didn't know the truth, I might have actually fallen for it. I called the kidnapper's number. I have the money ready, I said. But I need to see them in person to make sure they're okay. No way. Too risky. Then the deal's off. I kept my voice firm. $5 million in cash is not a small amount. I need to see them with my own eyes, or I'm calling the police and taking my chances. There was a long silence on the other end. Fine, but you come alone. And no cops. Deal. I hung up and picked up my other phone. Is everything in position? We're all set, Mr. Blackwood. Just like you asked. We'll move in 30 minutes after you arrive. Good, I said. And remember, this isn't a performance. This is a real kidnapping now. Understood. At 7 that night, I drove out to the abandoned amusement park. On the way, memories flooded my mind. Sophia visiting my first office, telling me it was too drab and that she'd help me decorate. Sophia sick with the flu, lying in my arms after I'd made her soup, telling me that marrying me was the best thing that ever happened to her. Sophia talking about wanting a baby, us trying, her tracking her ovulation cycles like a little scientist. No. I had to stop. That Sophia was dead. The woman waiting for me now was just a greedy, backstabbing stranger. By the time I reached the park, it was completely dark. The place was a wasteland of rusted rides and overgrown weeds, a true modern ruin. The haunted house sat at the far end of the property, a dark, looming structure that was genuinely unsettling. Following the kidnapper's instructions, I parked my car and walked toward the house alone. A faint light glowed from within. I pushed open the creaking door and saw the kidnapper, Victor Kane, a brutish-looking man with a beer gut. Sophia and Brandon were tied up in a corner. When they saw me, their eyes lit up with relief, with triumph. "Where's the money?" Victor demanded. "In the trunk. I need to check on them first." I walked over to Sophia and Brandon, making a show of examining their bonds. The ropes were so loose they were practically decorative. Not a scratch on them. Sophia's makeup wasn't even smudged. It was a pathetic performance. "Marcus, you came," Sophia whispered, her voice choked with fake emotion. "I thought I'd never see you again." "Thank you, Marcus." "Thank you," Brandon added, looking deeply grateful. I knelt and gently touched Sophia's face. "Don't worry, I'm here to save you." She leaned into my hand, her tears flowing freely now. "I was so scared, Marcus. Let's just go home." "Of course," I said, standing up. I looked at Victor. "The money's in the trunk. I'll go get it." "I'm coming with you," Victor said. "No problem." We walked out of the haunted house and into the suffocating darkness. "You really got the $5 million?" Victor asked. "Every penny," I said, stopping and turning to face him. "But Victor, are you sure you want to see this through?" Victor's face changed. How do you know my name?" "I also know about the 50 grand Brandon sent you. I know about your fraud conviction. I know about this whole pathetic plan," I said with a cold smile. Surprise. Panic flashed in his eyes, and he reached for something inside his jacket. Too late. Several black-clad figures burst from the overgrown bushes, tackling him to the ground in an instant. "Mr. Blackwood," the leader said with a nod. "Proceed as planned," I ordered. "Show them what a real kidnapping feels like." I walked back into the haunted house. Sophia and Brandon were still waiting, expecting a rescue. Their expressions soured when they saw the silent, imposing men who followed me inside. "Marcus, who are they?" Sophia asked, her voice laced with fear. "Are they cops?" Brandon asked, looking nervous. "No," I said, walking slowly toward them. "They're not cops. They're the real kidnappers." "What are you talking about?" Sophia stammered. "I'm talking about your little game being over. Now we play for real." I took out my phone and played a recording. It was Brandon and Victor planning the whole thing. 50 grand up front, 50 after. Just remember, don't actually hurt them. We just want the money. The color drained from both their faces. "Marcus, listen to me." "I can explain," Sophia pleaded. "Explain what?" "That you conspired to defraud me of $5 million. I knelt in front of her, looking her dead in the eye. That you and Brandon were screwing in our bed." Sophia's face turned sheet white. "Marcus, man, you've got it all wrong," Brandon tried. "Wrong." I stood up. "Then explain why a strand of your hair was on my pillow. Explain the $50,000 transfer to Victor Kane." Brandon was speechless. "Fine, since he won't explain, I will," I said, pacing in front of them. "You were sleeping together behind my back. I found out. So you cooked up this fake kidnapping to get my money and run away together. Am I missing anything?" No, Marcus, it's not like that. I swear, Sophia sobbed. Still lying. My voice turned to ice. Did you know I found the plane tickets Brandon bought yesterday? 2 one-way tickets to Cancun, departing tomorrow afternoon. That shut them up for good. Yes, I'd found everything. Their plan was perfect: get the money tonight, fly to Mexico tomorrow, and vanish from my life forever. A perfect plan, except they underestimated me. The rules of the game have changed, I said to my men. Do what I told you. They nodded and moved in, retying Sophia and Brandon. This time the ropes were tight, biting into their skin. They struggled, but it was useless. Marcus, you can't do this to me, Sophia shrieked. I'm your wife. My wife. I scoffed. Does a wife betray her husband? Does a wife sleep with another man in their bed? Does a wife try to steal $5 million from him? She had no answer. Marcus, we were wrong. We're so sorry, Brandon started begging. Just let us go. We'll never bother you again. Wrong. You know you're wrong now. I stared at him. Did you think about right and wrong when you were on top of her in my bed yesterday? I. He sputtered. You two love being together so much. Then you can be together forever, I said, turning to leave. Enjoy your honeymoon. Their horrified screams echoed behind me. I didn't look back. 8 years of marriage, 11 years of my life, over. For the next 3 days, I went to work and went about my life as if nothing had happened. On the 4th day, I received a video. It was of Sophia and Brandon locked in a much smaller, filthier room in the haunted house. They were a wreck. Sophia's hair was a matted mess, and Brandon had a nasty bruise on his cheek. Marcus, please. I'm begging you. Let us go, Sophia cried into the camera. I know I was wrong. I know what I did was horrible. We'll do anything to make it up to you, Marcus, Brandon pleaded, his face a portrait of despair. I closed the video and went back to analyzing a quarterly report. An hour later, my phone rang. It was Sophia. Marcus. Her voice was a weak croak. Please let us out of here. Sophia, do you remember our wedding vows? I asked calmly. Yes. Do you remember the part about, for richer or poorer, in sickness and in health, to love and to cherish until death do us part? Yes. But tell me, when you were in bed with Brandon, were you thinking about those vows? Silence on the other end. When you were planning to steal $5 million from me, were you thinking about our 11 years together? More silence. When you were about to run away with him, did you ever stop to think how much that would destroy me? Marcus, She started crying. Now it's your turn to feel a little pain, I said, my voice flat. This is the price of betrayal. No, Marcus, you can't do this. I hung up. 2 days later, Sophia's parents showed up at my office. Marcus, is Sophia okay? We haven't heard from her in 3 days, and she's not answering her phone, her mother said, her face etched with worry. She told me she was going on a trip with some friends. She didn't tell you. I feigned ignorance. A trip? But she didn't pack anything. Maybe it was a last-minute thing, I said. Don't worry, I'm sure she'll be back in a few days. Her father looked at me intently. Marcus, is there something going on between you two? No, of course not. We're fine, I said with a reassuring smile. She probably just needed to get away and clear her head. Well, all right, her mother said, though she was clearly still worried. If you hear from her, please tell her to call us. I will. After they left, I sat on my sofa and thought it was time for the next phase. I called the leader of my team. How are they holding up? Like you said, sir. No permanent physical harm, just psychological torment. The woman's not doing so well. Cries all the time. The man's been pretty quiet. Good. It's time for phase 2. What do you need? I want them to know that the whole world knows what they did. Understood. They needed to understand that betrayal costs you more than just your freedom. It costs you your name, your reputation, your entire life. I'd already had my people prepare the evidence, the hotel security footage, the audio recordings of them planning the fake kidnapping. Soon, everyone in the city would know exactly who Sophia and Brandon really were. The next day, it began. Videos and photos started circulating online. Security footage of Sophia and Brandon checking into a hotel. Audio clips of them plotting the kidnapping. It spread like wildfire through social media. The gossip started at Sophia's firm, then spread to Brandon's company. My phone blew up with calls from friends, all offering their condolences. "Marcus, I just saw the posts. I can't believe Sophia would do something like that. Hey man, just calling to check in. Don't let this get you down. You're better off without her. Stay strong, buddy. We're all here for you." I responded to each one, playing the part of the heartbroken but resilient victim. That afternoon, I got a video call from Sophia. Her eyes were red and swollen, her face gaunt. She looked like she'd aged 10 years. "Marcus, the things online, did you post them?" she asked, her voice raspy. "Not me," I lied smoothly. "You know how it is these days. Cameras are everywhere. Someone must have caught you. Please make them take it down," she begged. "My coworkers, my friends, everyone has seen it." "There's nothing I can do," I said with a sigh. "What's done is done. Marcus, I know I was wrong. I was so wrong," she said, dropping to her knees. "Please forgive me this one time. I swear I will never, ever betray you again." "Forgive you?" I stared at her through the screen. "Sophia, if I forgive you, what dignity do I have left? I'll make it up to you. I'll do anything." "How can you make it up to me?" My voice turned to steel. "Can you give me back the last 11 years? Can you restore the trust one once had in you?" She just sobbed harder. "Marcus, please don't do this to me." "Do what to you?" I asked. "Have I laid a hand on you? Have I even raised my voice? I'm simply letting you experience the consequences of your actions." Just then, Brandon appeared in the frame. He had more bruises now, looking like he'd been roughed up. "Marcus, we were wrong," he said, kneeling beside Sophia. "Whatever you want to do, do it to me. Leave Sophia out of this." "Oh, playing the white knight now?" I sneered. "Where was this protective instinct when you were screwing my wife?" Brandon's face flushed with shame. I wasn't thinking straight. Wasn't thinking straight. Was planning to steal $5 million from me also not thinking straight? "No, that was my idea," Brandon said quickly. "Sophia had nothing to do with it. I forced her." "Blame me? Is that right?" I looked at Sophia. "Did he force you?" She hesitated for a second, then nodded. "Yes, he made me do it." I laughed. Even now, after everything, they were still trying to pass the buck. "All right, if Brandon forced you, then he can bear a few more consequences," I said into the phone. "Let's give him some time to reflect on his actions." Off camera, I heard footsteps. Brandon was dragged away. Sophia screamed, "No, don't hurt him." "Sophia," I said, my voice cutting through her panic. "You're still worried about him?" She didn't know what to say. "It seems your feelings for him run deeper than any you ever had for me," I said. "Fine, I'll give you what you want." I ended the call. A few minutes later, I got a text message. "Job done as requested. His leg is broken. He'll live, but he'll walk with a limp for the rest of his life." I replied, "Good. That was the price for coveting my wife, even if she wasn't a wife I wanted anymore." A week later, the story reached its peak online. Sophia's firm fired her. Brandon's company terminated his contract. Their social media profiles were flooded with thousands of hateful comments. Someone had doxed them, posting their home addresses and their parents' information. That's the terrifying power of the internet. Once you become the villain of the story, you're torn apart by a faceless mob. Sophia's mother called me again. "Marcus, are the things online true?" she asked, her voice trembling. "I'm so sorry you had to find out this way, Mrs. Chen," I said with a heavy sigh. "I didn't want to believe it either, but it's true. My Sophia, how could she? She sobbed. We failed as parents. This isn't your fault, I said, comforting her. Everyone is responsible for their own choices. Where is she now, Marcus? She still hasn't come home. I don't know, I said. I think she's too ashamed to face anyone. She's probably hiding somewhere. Marcus, I know what she did to you was unforgivable, but she's still our daughter, she pleaded. If you see her, can you please just convince her to come home? If I see her, I will, I promised. After the call, I felt a flicker of something complex. Her parents were innocent victims in all of this. But that wasn't my fault. This was the path Sophia chose. That night, another video call from her came through. She was a ghost of her former self, impossibly thin and hollow-eyed. Marcus, her voice was barely a whisper. I can't take it anymore. Can't take what? I asked coldly. The hate online, the comments, she cried. My parents, they know everything. And? I asked. Isn't this what you deserve? I know I was wrong. I know, she wept on the floor. Please, just let me go. Let you go. I scoffed. Sophia, do you have any idea what my life has been like this past week? Every day, friends call to tell me how sorry they are that my wife betrayed me. Every day, I have to pretend to be the poor, heartbroken husband and accept their pity. Do you know how humiliating that is? She went silent. And you think this is over? I continued. The internet never forgets. This will follow you for the rest of your life. No matter where you go, a simple Google search of your name will bring up this entire sordid affair. Her face grew even paler. However, I said, I can offer you a choice. What choice? A sliver of hope appeared in her eyes. End it yourself. If you do, I'll have all the data scrubbed from the internet. Your parents won't have to live with this shame anymore. She stared at me in horror. You want me to die. I don't want you to die. You chose this path, I said calmly. You betrayed me, tried to steal from me, and now you want to walk away scot-free. Life doesn't work that way. Marcus, we were married, she said, her voice full of despair. Married. I laughed without humor. You have the nerve to bring that up now. Suddenly, Brandon hobbled into the frame on a makeshift crutch, his leg in a crude splint. Marcus, if you want revenge, take it out on me. Leave Sophia alone, he said. Brandon, how's the leg? I asked with mock concern. You. He seethed. You had my leg broken. I did, I admitted without hesitation. That's the price for sleeping with my wife. A wife, I might add, that I no longer want. How can you be so cruel, he spat. Cruel? Were you two not being cruel when you planned to ruin my life? We. Enough, I cut him off. I don't have time for this melodrama. You have 24 hours to decide. I ended the call. In 24 hours, either Sophia would end her own life, or I would make sure she wished she had. The next evening, my deadline arrived. I received one last video call. Sophia was sitting on the floor, a hunting knife in her hand. Her eyes were vacant, her body limp, as if she were already gone. Marcus, her voice was as faint as a dying breath. I'll do it. Good, I said. It's the last thing you can do for our marriage. After I'm gone, will you forgive me? She asked. I will forget you, I said coldly. I'll just pretend that for 11 years I was nursing a viper in my home. Tears rolled down her cheeks. I really did love you once. Love me. I scoffed. If you loved me, you wouldn't have cheated. If you loved me, you wouldn't have tried to steal my money. It was a moment of weakness. Enough, I cut her off. Stop with the lies. Just do it. She looked at the knife, her hand trembling as she raised it. Wait. Brandon suddenly appeared, snatching the knife from her hand. Sophia, you can't. Dylan, she cried. We don't have a choice. Yes, we do, Brandon said. We die together. He handed the knife back to her. I'll go first. You follow me. That way, we can still be together on the other side. I watched this pathetic, melodramatic display with zero emotion. It was almost funny. Even at the end, they were still performing, still trying to appeal to some sense of pity they thought I had left. But my heart was a stone. Suit yourselves, I said. The outcome is the same to me. Brandon took the knife and held it to his own throat. Marcus, he said, I hope we never meet again in the next life. The feeling is mutual, I replied. He closed his eyes and dragged the blade across his neck. Blood spurted, and he collapsed. Sophia screamed and threw herself over him. Brandon! Brandon! She held his lifeless body, wailing, then picked up the bloody knife and held it to her own throat. Marcus, I hope we never meet again either, she whispered. I was never worthy of your love. With that, she ended her own life. Soon, they were both still. I watched the two bodies on the screen, feeling nothing but a vast, empty peace. 8 years of marriage, 11 years of my life, finally over. I shut off the video feed and dialed my men. It's done. Clean up the bodies. Understood. And scrub the internet. Already on it. Good. The balance of your payment has been transferred. Thank you, Mr. Blackwood. I hung up, sat down on my sofa, and lit a cigarette. The city lights twinkled outside my window. Life would go on. Without Sophia, my life was simply now. No more guessing, no more suspicion, no more pain from her lies. I was free. Moving forward. A month later, the police found 2 bodies in an abandoned building on the outskirts of the city. They'd been dead for weeks. The official ruling was a murder-suicide. I gave my statement to the police, playing the part of the grieving husband to perfection. I'm sorry for your loss, Mr. Blackwood, the detective said. I know she betrayed you, but she was still your wife. Thank you, I said. I'm just trying to move on. What will you do now? Start over, I said with a sigh. You have to keep moving forward, right? At the funeral, Sophia's parents were inconsolable. I went over and offered my condolences. Mr. and Mrs. Chen, I'm so sorry, I said. Sophia made some terrible mistakes, but she was still your daughter. Marcus, her mother sobbed. We failed her. Don't say that, I told her. Everyone is responsible for their own choices. After the funeral, I went home. The house was cavernous and empty without her. I gathered all of her things, photos, clothes, makeup, and stuffed them into trash bags. All these items that once defined a part of my life were now just garbage. I picked up our wedding photo. We were both smiling, so happy. Did she ever really love me, or was it all just an act right from the very beginning? It didn't matter anymore. What mattered was that I was free. I tore the photograph in half and dropped it into the trash. Starting today, I was my own man again. Starting over.